Day one in Cluj Napoca is still underway, and I have Liquid, who have just lost a very, very close match against Virtus.pro. It was the best game of the day, at least so far. Yeah, first off, I want to get into the preparation you got, because you were at PGL 2-3 weeks ago, and yeah, let's talk about that. Did you have a boot camp? How long before the event have you actually had time to practice?
We didn't have an actual European boot camp. We just kind of boot camped online. Unfortunately, we have a couple kids that are still in school. They have this is their exam time, so we didn't have the luxury of coming over here to boot camp. I think we tried to go over as much as we could from what we learned in PGL and even the Swedish qualifier for this event. And I mean, obviously, I think every time we come out here, we're getting better. We're trying to go over the little mistakes we make during the end of the rounds that, if we stop those mistakes, some of these rounds go in our favor, and if one of them went towards our favor towards the end there, we probably would have ended up winning that match. So we definitely just go over as much as we can, try to play against all the American teams we can, and just try to practice as much as we can without worrying too much about aim or winning scrims or just running our strategies.
All right, so you have been the coach of Liquid for quite some time, but you mentioned that before this, that this is not your full-time job. You still have a full-time job elsewhere. So how much have you been able to help the team during the practice beforehand?
I started about 3 months ago when Spencer came on. That was my first move, was get Spencer, and then I needed him to augment the experience level. So what you saw in this LAN today was a little bit of a depth. I mean, those guys have been to 6 majors. We've been to 1. We had them 12-6, and we got bent a little bit in a couple different awkward situations, and we let them creep back in with a little miscommunication, lack of communication, lack of what to do, because they've never been in those situations, and they played well, they played strong, but I think they got a little bit out-experienced. So, but anyway, 3 months I've been coaching. I come home from my day job 5 or 6 o'clock, and then I coach from 6 till midnight, and then I wake up 6 hours later and go back to work, and it's a grind. So they came from PGL, and then they played, I don't know, 8 matches, it was 5 matches a day for 4 days straight. So we pick. Honestly, I'm in their ear harping. I'm just we don't even have time to practice right now. We have too much stuff. And so I'm just on lower tier matches, just you shouldn't peak that, and we need to work together as a team and trade and all this stuff. So it's kind of real time coaching in a sense, but we review our demos. We're going to take these demos back and review them, and it's going to be awesome. So we have, I mean, when you play, Virtus.pro and possibly Titan or NIP, those are great demos to review on top LAN play. So we're excited.
So yeah, talking about reviewing demos, how much have you actually put in terms of hours into looking at different teams in your group, Titan and IP and Virtus.pro? How much time?
Heavy. I have a team of analysts right now. Kieran is awesome. He helps break down everything. He gives us statistics on who hits where. I'm not going to go into it much more than that, but we have a ton of data backing a lot of our decisions, so it kind of helped us grow. So this big spurt has been Hiko, maybe a little bit of me, and definitely Kieran, and then the team rising to the occasion and really augmenting their experience. So as far as the demo review and all that stuff, I used to do it. If anybody knows me from old school, that's all I used to do is watch demos. So I study, and I love it. So I help. Dren does it too. I would say it's between me and Dren and the analyst team at home. So we got a pretty powerful force, and we just started it. So that's been a big help.
Yeah, that's great. That's one of the first teams to do that, to have a full team of analysts. Yeah, looking at the groups, looking at the group draw when it first came out, how did you feel about it? How did you feel about the group of death?
I think there was a clip on Reddit of me looking for the first time on my stream, and I'm like, oh my god.
Really?
So I was definitely surprised that we had pretty much, in most people's opinions, the most stacked group. And I think all my team and myself, we all felt that Virtus.pro was the best team, and we just showed that we were able to push VP to the limit. Could have gone our way, it didn't, and I think now we'll go back home or go back to the hotel, see exactly what went wrong against VP, kind of analyze either NIP or Titan, whoever wins. And yeah, I mean, I don't expect either NIP or Titan to be as good as Virtus.pro was. So if everyone kind of has that same mentality and we have a lot of confidence coming in tomorrow, I can see us doing a lot of damage to either team.
All right, so
say something on that. I think Well, when you look at the team without a major, the Virtus Pro's been to 6 majors, and NIP has been to 6 majors, and then Titan is like 2. I think it's 2.
Well, going back to where you I think it's all 6 actually as well.
Really?
As far as I know.
Okay, so, and then us for like a couple players the first time, right? So the point is that there's, when I came here and we saw the groups as a coach, I was like, that is amazing, because if we were playing possibly, no offense to Vex, but they're not, those teams. If we happen to have a Vex in our group or another thing, I kind of feel like that's a waste of our talent of a match. So if we're coming and we're going to have to eventually be the best team in the world, how do we do that? We got to play the best to beat the best. So I was excited about the groups, and I think our team should be.
Yeah, that's a good thing to hear. So touching on the match itself a little bit, there was so many clutches. There were like 7 clutch rounds going both ways, but there was one that kind of piqued my interest, which was the 2v3 that you were a part of, I think. The 3v2 in your favor, actually, that you were a part of. And I think Neo or someone had like 7 seconds to plant, and two guys decided to push up and Taz mowed both of them down. Do you feel like that was impatience, or what was it? What do you think?
I don't exactly know what happened. I think a guy just ended up pushing both of them and killing them from the side. I think in a situation like that, like, there's only 7 seconds left. One of them has to be planning. Probably it wouldn't have been that big of a deal if one person pushed the planner and one person held back and waited for me to come back towards them. So I don't know if they were just getting a little antsy or if it was just maybe a little miscommunication. I remember sitting there that round and just being like, so I have 7 health and connector, just waiting, and all of a sudden they both die. So yeah. Maybe James can talk about it.
I know a Dren keyed on it, and he just said he commented on it. He knew it, so he saw the mistake. I actually couldn't see it. I know it's something we're going to review. Only one person should rush the planter, and the other guy should protect him and then trade. And there's no way you can win because he's fighting, and then you trade again. So I think that what we do is review that, and I ask them how we could have done it better. Let them answer it, and if they can't answer it, we got people like him and Dren that are experienced that can kind of go over that. And if they don't know, I probably know because I've played a while. So we'll get it, and then we'll fix it, and we'll come back.
So towards the end, 15-14, but you couldn't close it out. Is that experience? Is that you're getting better as a team? What is it?
I think we're still pushing VP to the limit, as you just said, and as I said earlier, a lot of teams were like, "Oh, Virtus Pro is going to beat these guys 16-2, 16-3 on Liquid, ProNet, whatever they call us." Again, every time we come to Europe, I think we're proving a lot of people wrong. We're proving that we actually can hang, and we're proving that we are a force to be reckoned with. As James was saying earlier, though, we need to touch it up, though. We need, something that I was saying earlier is we don't really have that level of practice in the U.S. Most teams in the U.S., a lot of their strats revolve around just throwing set smokes at a certain time, then trying to go through it, or just trying to walk without smokes. Virtus Pro is very, very good with their nades and their flashes and their smokes. And a couple rounds, I remember somebody was naded down to 50 health from just one nade, and their timing while using those nades are just you don't have that practice unless you play against pretty much Virtus Pro. And I know we'll be in Ohio next week, and I know they're in our group again. So regardless if we end up playing them again this tournament later on, or if we just play them next week, I think we're definitely learning a lot as we go.
You could start to say they're becoming our rivals.
Yeah, that's true. You've faced Virtus Pro at PTL as well. It wasn't that one-sided as well. You at least took some experience from that, and now you've proved that you can learn from your mistakes and you can get better. Last thing, tomorrow is going to be either NIP or Titan. That is going to be on in about a few minutes. Who fits you better? Who do you think you'd like to face first?
If it was me personally, I would rather play NIP. I mean, the last time I played NIP, I was standing in for Flipside. I beat them. NIP is always the team that you want to beat. I love those guys. They're great people. I'm friends with all of them. But to get the chance to knock them out in a group is just so delicious. It's just great. And as James said, you have to beat the best to become the best. So if we're able to beat NIP, and I do think that will be who we end up playing tomorrow, then I want to beat them.
So you think Titan's going to beat NIP tomorrow? I mean, today.
I do think that.
And why?
Shoxy,
the anti-NIP player. Actually, that's true.
You actually notice he actually has a brace on his hand, so maybe that, maybe that's actually a bad thing. But still, my man Shoxy, group stages against NIP, I know I can count on him.
Yeah, there's all the history going on. So James, Hiko, thank you both for the interview. Do you have any last words? Shout outs to fan sponsors.
I'd like to shout out all our Liquid sponsors. Also Liquid as an organization, they've been very good to us, very supportive ever since I joined. And obviously all the fans and the friends and the family, and a special shout out to my mom, because I know she's going to watch this.
Shout outs to mom as always. So that was the 4th interview from DreamHack Open Cluj, Napoca. Stay tuned to HLTV.org as we have still, and Kieran, I guess. Okay, shout outs to Kieran. And that was the 4th video interview, as I just said. Stay tuned to HLTV.org as we have still 3 matches left to be played.